Thank you all for being here. I'm Decentralized Dan from the Zcash Foundation, and I'm joined here today with a great panel to represent some of the community from the Zcash ecosystem. And maybe we'll just dive right in and do some quick intros. The ambassador talk that was just before us, you guys were able to meet Michael and Madison, and well, maybe we'll go down the line and give some quick intros and talk about what you do in the Zcash ecosystem.
Yeah.
Joel.
So, hey, I'm Joel Valenzuela. Yeah, I've been involved in crypto for about 10 years, but living off of it entirely since 2015. And I run the Zcash podcast, which is a monthly podcast on my channel, Digital Cash Network. And I do some work for ZecHub, making some kind of, if you've seen that video circulating, if you haven't seen it, you probably should. The video circulating around about comparing the different privacy models. That was something I got done. And so, yeah, I'm here to, to learn a lot more about the community and get further involved and kind of take that outsider perspective in and, hopefully get a lot done.
Great. Thanks, Joel.
I am Ryan Taylor. I'm the organizer of the Zcash Foundation Audio Visual Club. And my involvement in Zcon has previously always been running the live stream and helping with the AV needs. And this year, because we just announced the ZFAV Club back in January, we have been let loose and we're having fun filming and doing interviews and collaborating with all the community members that are here.
Thanks, Ryan.
I'm Madison. I work full-time at Edge, and I'm a Global Zcash Ambassador based in San Diego. Edge is a self-custody, no KYC, multi-asset exchange platform. So as you can tell, there's a lot of similarities within the ethos of Zcash and Edge. And so, yeah, I have this super cool crossover of both interest and passion in what I do professionally.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm from Zcash Brazil. I'm the ambassador and member of the ZecHub DAO as well. So, yes, this is my Zcash site and contribute to Zcash ecosystem as well as a whole.
Thanks, Mike.
Hi, I'm Jason, and I work on ZecHub. And I'm a core contributor on ZecHub, and I also do the Arborist development call updates.
Great, thank you. So yeah, we have some representation here from a lot of what I would call like the little sub-communities inside of the Zcash community at large, and I thought maybe we could start with touching on the collaboration that's happening between like ZecHub, the AV Club, and the Ambassador Program. And we see each other a lot virtually, and it's really nice to be here in person. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Zcash Grants Committee for funding. A lot of this stuff stems from that and the foundation, and bringing us all here together today. And I just thought maybe first, whoever wants to jump in and talk about how we all these different niche communities, sub-communities, get together virtually and collaborate to grow the Zcash ecosystem.
Yeah, I will happily chime in on that. I think something that was super cool when I became an ambassador is I was instantly injected into this community of Zcashers. I know that if I need anything AV related, I can call on the ZFAV team. If I have any questions, I can just tap into the Signal channel with the ambassadors or the community, and every single tweet that I throw out, it's just like so many Zcash people, flock to it, and I think the community is super strong, and something that I've experienced personally is just so much support. I think I can really appreciate the network that this team has worked so hard to build. It's awesome.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that. It's the Zcash community, the communities that we're seeing within Zcash are very available and very diverse in their interests and their fields of expertise. And this is encouraging the collaboration that we're seeing, and it's really comes down to supporting each other and caring about each other and collaborating and creating a space for each other. And that's happened in the Zcash community organically from a grassroots level. And it's just I mean, it's supported by ZCG, definitely, and the Zcash Foundation as well. And they've created this, not just the technology that ECC created, but also the opportunity for all of these different communities and individuals to come into the Zcash community and collaborate in a way that they're interested in. And there's a support structure, not only financial, but also compassion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could I give like a good example?
Sure.
There's several examples.
Please.
Like, very long list. But ZecHub works very closely with the global ambassadors because like we allow people to make translations of newsletters and stuff. So, for example, Zcash Brazil has every week since ZecHub has been created made a translation of the weekly ecosystem newsletter. So the whole Brazilian community can be informed of what's happening and feel part of something greater. And that's not just in Brazil. It's like RU Zcash, so there's another ambassador, and there's Oleg, who does the Italian newsletter. And so there's a lot of collaboration with ambassadors, and with the ZFAV club as well. Like 2 weeks ago, Ryan was like, your videos are sounding like slightly low volume. and so I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. So he spent the time, and he learned this new program, and he came back to me, and he was like, yeah, you need to, in fact, he hosted like a workshop thing, and he said, yeah, you need to do this with the volume and all of that. And I think it's not just me, but it's also everyone within the ZecHub community who works with the ambassadors and with the AV club as well.
Yeah, I have some insights. Like, we know that to create some communities in hard times, like bear market, is hard, and we need to avoid like bad actors, haters, and start to building what you believe. And like I love to see like ZecHub and other ambassadors and keep going, and don't listen like one people that haven't created anything. So you need to believe in that. And this collaboration is essential for growing the Zcash community, in my guess.
Yeah. Great. Joel, just
Yeah, I've noticed it was kind of funny because I kind of got interested in Zcash more deeply in the past year or so, and that kind of prompted me to look for ways of getting involved. And the reason I started the Zcash podcast was half because there was a request for proposal out there, but half was because I wanted to learn more about Zcash. I wanted to get deep, and I thought the only way I get deep is by like dedicating a piece of my time to it. And in the beginning, I was a little like nervous, since of course one of the most, I would say annoying, but one of the more work-intensive parts about running my channel has always been scheduling, because then, you know, have a weekly new show, have to have a different guest on every time, do interviews, all this, and so I was kind of worried that I wouldn't have enough people to talk to in the Zcash community, because I thought, well, I kind of know Zuko, and I know a couple others, and then who else do I talk to? And then, surprisingly, there's so many different little groups in the Zcash community that I just did not know existed. Like, just I'm uncovering, oh, there's a new project here, there's a new project there, there's a million different little projects all over the place. Yeah. And I think that it kind of, if you kind of, I guess, go on like crypto Twitter or whatever, for the most part, you don't see a lot of that in the mainstream. You don't see a lot of like Zcash representation in like the mainstream dialogues going out there. But then once you start following just a couple people and poking, you start seeing little shields pop up and, you know, all over the place. You start to like see there's like the Zcash community is it's a little quiet, but very present, very there. And that's kind of something that surprised me. It's just like almost like an underground resistance, right? Just a bunch of little groups and cells popping up here and there, and it's been kind of cool.
Yeah, and just to expand on that a little bit, with all these, as you're calling them, cells or sub-communities, I think I called them earlier, it's just really great that they start in their own little bubbles, and then because, like Crypto Twitter or Discord or the forum, you're able to get together, collaborate, and we all join each other's weekly meetups and are able to talk and move projects forward, and it's just been really great. So maybe we can switch to talking about, Madison touched on this, you know, you called yourself a community and meetup maximalist, and your in-person meetups have been amazing to follow, and you know, here today at Zcon4, it's just been, this week it's been really great to get together in person, and so I thought we could talk a little bit about the value of meeting up in person, in addition to, you know, what we do when we're all not together digitally.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's invaluable to meet in person. Something that I think has really helped me is being a part of so many different groups. Like I mentioned, not necessarily a maximalist in anything. I don't want to cut myself off from a conversation that I can have with maybe someone who lives and breathes ETH, because you know they're into crypto, they're into the technology. Your next conversation with that person might be a great opportunity to talk to them about Zcash, and so I think it's good to cast a wide net and meet different people from different groups and interests, because yeah, you never know when the opportunity is going to present itself. Another cool thing is like, you know, I have a Zcasher watching my cats right now, and I'm paying him in Zcash. I have a community around me that I can really count on for things that I need. House sitting, you know, helping out at meetups. It's so nice. You know, we're in a digital world, and that human connection is just so important.
Yeah. Michael, maybe you could talk about the value of Zcon Voices, and you know, you touched on that as well during the lightning talk about how you know you reached out, you were able to help grow the community and bring a bunch of projects together that maybe hadn't been together in person before, and then we're able to at Zcon Voices.
Yeah, like she said, it's a valuable experience to bring more people to close, and then keep the collaboration with another heads of another projects in Brazil, because Brazil is so, like, people is so afraid for most of things, you know, like it's technology or any innovation, people is like, oh, maybe it's can or something like that. So when you bring people for the same space and teach them and talk about this and that and the uses for that, it was a great experience. This was my first event, so it's very challenges for me. You are there, so was amazing. Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe Ryan, same question. I know you've been involved with all the Zcons from zero, and you know, maybe touch on some of that. And
yeah, definitely. The in-person events, for all of the reasons that Madison and Michael just said, are vital to any community, I think. And like, we live in an online world. This is fine. We have Discord. We've got Twitter. We've got ways to communicate. We also have massive amount of scams and mistrust. And to Michael's point, when we meet in person and we have a chance to talk about this stuff, if someone new is coming into the community, they can feel comfortable trusting someone who they're talking to, who they're spending days with. Yeah. And at a purpose-designed event, like at any Zcon, really, then you have the experts in the various fields able to explain to people and meet them where they are in a way that they understand and that they feel comfortable then joining into the community. And hopefully they're then motivated to bring their own skill sets, their own curiosity, and collaborate with us from there.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes with Zcon4 specifically, this was the first Zcon that I was not actually able to attend in person. But I was able to facilitate the live streaming that Dan and Vito helmed, and it was their first live stream. It was their first time meeting. And I sent Dan down there with his laptop and OBS and a little bit of training. and then he shows up and puts Vito on the camera, and they nailed it. It was really an amazing event to watch, and I was just there to support them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example, and I don't know if I can't see if Vito's out here, but there he is. Yeah, it was really amazing to go down there and work. He was instrumental in putting on Zcon Voices, and it's just another example of meeting digitally first and then solidifying that relationship in person, and then continuing to be able to work together in between, and then get back together here today and work on stuff. Yeah. So, Jason, maybe we can give just an update about some community building efforts going on in ZecHub, and what ZecHub does to help grow the Zcash community and help get people involved.
Community building, it's all community building. So like the bounty program that ZecHub runs, we invite people to offer their services so they can make design pieces for ZecHub. And the way we do it is we create tasks. So we'll say, we'll need something such as like a poster. We're doing a promotional post and we'd like you to make a poster. And here is a bounty of 0.75 Zec who is willing to do that. And anyone in the world can join the community. So you can go to dwork.zechub.xyz, and you can find the tasks there. And if you want to make a newsletter, for example, or if you want to, if you have an idea for your own thing that you think will benefit Zcash, you can come to us in the Discord, which is the Zcash Global Discord. If you're not in it, you should probably join it immediately. And yeah, so there's the bounty program, and there is also our efforts, like with Joel. We've been working with him. He's been making videos for us. And we've also managed to collaborate with outside parties. So it's not just within the Zcash community, but there's people from Decred who are now interested in Zcash. And there are Zcashers who are, I think, through ZecHub, beginning to use other blockchain-related software, like messenger services and such. And yeah, it's like, for example, the NFT that ZecHub's just created is on Avalanche, because there's the Zavax bridge from Zcash to Avalanche. And we said, that's great, but do Zcashers really know how to use Avalanche? And so we put the NFT on Avalanche, and if you're willing, you can turn on the GPS on your phone, and we've done like a special thing. So you can go to zcon4.zechub.xyz, and we have 5 NFTs that you can claim if you're within 2 miles of this conference. So once you do that, you'll get access to like a magazine and a bunch of extra stuff. So the people in this conference room, if we're talking about community building, you can participate in this extras program, and you can say if it's good or if it's bad. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned, that ZecHub, the community lives inside, or at least partially inside of the Zcash Global Discord, which, as Michael touched on earlier, was originally the Zcash Latin American Discord and is now Zcash Global. And I think that's just another great example of this cross-community collaboration. You have, instead of having it all be splintered in certain ways, you have this one Zcash Global Discord. You have lots of the ambassadors involved in there. You have all these different languages, and ZecHub ends up living inside of there and is able to participate and follow along inside that main Discord. Yeah. Maybe Ryan, just a couple, some updates similar to what Jason gave about ZecHub, just AV Club stuff and what we got going on, and
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, I'm giving a presentation tomorrow about the AV Club and what the ZFAV Club and what we've been doing for the last 6 months, for the first 6 months of the club. So be sure to catch that for like the big picture, where I'll take 30 minutes to say it, but here's the 1-minute version. We have our main center for information is all on Free to Z at ZFAV Club. And from there, you can find links to our Discord, which is where most of our conversations happen, most of our collaborations happen. We have a weekly meeting on Tuesdays and weekly meetup or a weekly workshop on Wednesdays. And those are at 1700 UTC. Those are open to anyone. And my idea there is just to create space where people can come in and ask questions and find out what we're doing and contribute in their own way, to troubleshoot, to break things, to learn audio levels or OBS and broadcasting, and as well as translations. And we're doing a lot of work on human language translations as well as a way to collaborate with broader communities, with more communities, because I think that if we're talking about building community in a global space, then human languages is where we need to start.
Great. So I was able to pull some questions from Huva in the forum, and since the talk right before us was about the ambassador program, somebody asked about what innovative ideas could help Zcash community ambassadors increase their local community participation. Maybe we'll start with Madison.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned in my last talk, I feel super blessed to be able to kind of run with my crazy ideas. And yeah, like examples of something I've done, I chatted about is my privacy and pottery meetup. So this one's a cool one because it's a 3-part series, kind of designed that way because, you know, you get people in the first, at the first meetup, they make their pottery, I go fire it, and then they come back and they paint their pottery. And then I fire it, and then they come back, and then they have to get their pottery. So this is a cool way to kind of keep people coming back. Yeah, making series, hosting. I've hosted the Zcash media team, and I'm getting a bunch of ideas just from this this conference. Like I think I might host a meetup where I show some of these talks. So yeah, I think people really appreciate the innovative meetups in particular. You could only go to so many meetups where you sit there and listen to a speaker talk. And so they appreciate kind of getting out of their normal flow. And so I would definitely encourage you to get creative and see where it gets you, because it's my members, my little community that I've created, they seem to appreciate. Yeah.
That's good advice, yeah. And at the end of your talk earlier, you were mentioning, that other ambassadors can reach out to you for advice if looking for where to get started. And I think that's really important, that people reach out and we can all help each other figure out ways to get more meetups going in all the different locations. And
yeah, there's systems that make things easier. And so, yeah, super happy to discuss event coordination with anybody.
One thing I like, it's bounties or little incentives for the community, because we can reach more people and bring more talents as well with little things. And like Jason said about Zcash Hub, it's empower like someone that lives in China or whatever, it's can work and earn Zcash. So it's better earn than buy, for example. Like Ian gave a great talk yesterday about that. So I worked in the DAO before Zcash, so I know how this mechanism works. So it's really important for any community to keep the community, the member incentivized, and try to bring them, even developers and marketing and any artists, because every people has some talent, but maybe sometimes they don't know they have. So that's important, and that's why we are open for everyone in the Discord for many languages. Yeah, I think it's great. And I talk about the self-funding. It's very important for Zcash ambassadors program and for all Zcash ecosystem. And because Zcash uses Zcash for payments, so it's autonomous system. So you have a longevity for build stuff and learn quickly, It's like a triple L. You listen, look, and learn.
Yeah.
So you can interact more quickly to like see the market and like get some technology that was born in now. So you can try that, but it's wrong. You can go back and try again.
Yeah.
So this is magic, superpower. Yeah, I think you need to keep that and help ambassadors to grow more. I think ZF did a decision. So we are here, they are collecting fruits because they made one decision years ago. I don't know the time exactly, but here, if we need to create like these programs and at scale, and don't need too much like Zec to send for people, but you need to keep like the ball rolling.
Yeah. That's good advice, yeah. So let's see, we had some other questions. I think, Joel, you mentioned, you've been so involved in multiple crypto communities for a long time and living on crypto, and I think you're very unique in that way. And, since you've been involved in Zcash more this year, specifically, what advice would you give to other people or even to current Zcash community members to bring in other folks like yourself who maybe started in other communities but are starting to dip their toes in more to get involved in the Zcash community?
Yeah, well, from my perspective, so I've been paying attention to Zcash for a very long time. I've been kind of interested in the privacy aspect of crypto since day one, until I learned Bitcoin didn't really have any, and then I started looking at other things. And I, of course, knew about Zcash. In fact, one of my friends, I witnessed him probably doing the first in-person shielded transaction ever. I don't know if it's necessarily, but he bought something from a shop using the command line wallet. Took 10 minutes to generate. It was awful and amazing at the same time. And so that taught me two things. One, this is cool technology people are excited about, but two, this is not ready. Like, it's not something you use. And a lot of mobile wallets especially had issues that I thought were like structural, being able to communicate with nodes and basically having relatively trust minimized privacy on mobile devices wasn't really a thing. And then when I first saw that Zcash had kind of solved that, that's when I paid attention. And so I guess the lesson in that is it has to kind of be real for people. And the fact that you can just, do what Zuko loves to do, run around, hey, here, install this wallet, and we'll send you some. The fact that you can do that makes it much more real, and it's something that actually kind of works, real goods and services. And it's kind of funny because one of the things I think the Zcash world needs to work more on is using it as a currency. And of course, big surprise coming from me, I'm saying this stuff, but and getting it more usable in places. And so, like, for example, I unfortunately could not pay for my flight out here in Zcash, even though I got the scholarship in Zec to be able to do it. And all the major travel sites don't accept that. And it would be a lot better if you could do something like that. Sure. Or, it is good. I have used Flexa before, which of course, Madison, your famous video of Dunkin' Donuts with the lady freaking out. Still one of my favorites. And yes, I did, of course, buy something from Dunkin'. Unfortunately, I have a Graphene OS phone, so it doesn't work on that one. I'd use my Googled phone for that. But I guess just what really hits home for people is when it's something real. It's not just, oh, you can play around with this nerdy privacy encryption thingy. It's like, you can do this to buy that. Like, look, and you did it privately, just like cash. It's digital cash now. And I think that's a great way of bringing people in, is making it like real for their lives, to where it's not just, oh, this is I live my normal life. I do swipey with the Slavey bank card here, and then I just play around with my nerdy friends over here.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's bridging that to the real world, gets beyond, just a smaller community of people and brings privacy to like reality.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see, so some other questions. This was from the forum, I believe it was from G-Guy. Given the dynamic nature of the Zcash ecosystem, where should we be focusing our efforts in terms of growth, and which community needs to be nurtured and expanded upon to achieve the optimum level of contribution to the overall Zcash mission? Anybody want to jump in? I know that was a long one. I could repeat it if anybody needs to.
It's a big one.
ZecHub.
I'll go
I
second.
think it should be probably ZecHub. We allow people to make contributions, and like you should understand that most of what ZecHub produces, all of the educational content, all of the media stuff, it doesn't come from core contributors. It actually comes from people everywhere. Some of them are just unknown people, and so we have a fairly limited capacity. We actually needed to limit. We were getting so many people coming and like earning Zec. We figured that like our treasury wasn't sustainable in the way, so we had to be like, we actually have to like rate limit the amount of tasks that we're able to offer people, and so we've been having like people joining all the time, and I feel that ZecHub really will be able to allow Zcash to be used as real-world payments for actual content and for like an understanding. So it's not just content. I think it's like actually a real understanding of Zcash being used as not just private payment, but a way to earn money for many people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think if we allow people to experience that, it's actually a very powerful thing.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to touch on that, where we should be focusing as far as in terms of growth?
Yeah, one thing I noticed is I don't think that the unique selling proposition of Zcash has been kind of out there enough in the crypto world. And I mean, I think that the whole ideas about privacy are just, they're very theoretical, right? And so people know, oh, Zcash privacy, yeah, that's it. But like a lot of people just say, well, just use the Lightning Network if you want privacy. And like, okay, there's a lot wrong with that. Or they just say, oh, if you just coin join Bitcoin through this thing, then it's just perfectly this. Or then you have the Litecoin people chiming in, Mimblewimble, that's all it'll work. And just there's so much work that has been, so many resources have been put in with Zcash specifically on just the tech, on just making the most rock solid, literally there is no second best, right? In terms of getting like the absolute privacy right. But then, if a shielded transaction is untraceable, but no one knows it, is it really untraceable? or more importantly, I do think there's a lot of educational gaps in the rest of the space on like why Zcash over something else, because people, especially the issue of privacy, people have all kinds of misconceptions, and I feel like a lot of times those misconceptions go completely unaddressed, or not really countered. Some communities in particular kind of promote misconceptions, and just it's quiet about that. No, we're we're busily building our own little world, but at some point, I think that once you kind of get that education out there, I think that you start to get people to see like, okay, all the stuff that I was thinking I was doing with other things, I have a reason now to consider, using Zcash instead of a plethora of other options. And just making that thing down about like why Zcash, and why Zcash is very clear in a world where it's the only cryptocurrency that exists. That's very clear. I think that a lot of us here have done a lot of communication on that about, privacy is normal and this is good. But as far as like, all right, privacy is normal, I'm just going to use Mimblewimble. It's like, that next step of that conversation, I think, needs to be had out in a very honest and accurate way that's also professional and like not confrontational.
Yeah.
Just
Like, yeah.
it's like my view, just to simplify this, is like we have privacy, and then we have like need to fill many gaps here, and then people. Like the hard party we already have, like the code, the trust setup was exchanged last year. So I think we have many cases for the technology beyond the like digital private cash. We have like for cash, we have offshore money. We have like IDs, like for entering some shows, like you need to prove some information, but your ID has your parents' name, etc. So the technology solve that problem. So you need to fill the gap between privacy and people and create some many programs or many stuff in education and search. For example, Zcash Hub, it's doing amazing about the search of information for Zcash in general. So yeah, I think we need to create like many small things to reach big things.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get stuck in the echo chamber of Zcash. Like I mentioned, the Zcash community is so strong. I'll put a tweet out and the community is there and they respond, and you could stop there. That's validating. It's nice to get a bunch of responses and stuff, but you're still in the echo chamber, like Joel mentioned. He's been in the space for so long, and then when he got into the Zcash ecosystem, he realized how wide it really is, but it wasn't until you got in, until you really felt that. And so I think just maybe starting there, keeping that in mind, that there is a bit of an echo chamber, and there is a lot of validation in that echo chamber, and we all have similar values, but yeah, finding a way to get out of that and making a concerted effort to get out of that, I think is important.
Yeah, definitely. I think we talk a lot about privacy, and privacy is awesome, but I want to mention that publicity is also awesome and necessary. And to that point, like I would want to say that we need to focus on one community specifically. I think we need calendars. That's like, we had ZFAV Club has a calendar now on the ZecHub wiki that Squirrel was awesome enough to set up for us. And on the Zcash dashboard designed by Alpha Day, there we can feed a community calendar there with RSS feeds from any calendar that anyone has for their own community and their own project. Yeah. And by publicizing these events that we're doing and these meetups online and in person, then we can really see some major community growth come from that and involvement.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important, and that's another example of the cross collaboration between. So Alpha Day was a grant that was approved by ZCG, and I believe his name is Mike. I can't remember his handle, but
hi, Mike.
Yeah, hi, Mike. And but he joins our AV Club meetups, right? And he's just super open to collaborating with us. We'll give him feedback. We'll have the dashboard open, and we'll be going over things like a calendar and whatnot. And then, yeah, just on the calendar stuff, because of all these sub-communities, and we have everybody's doing their own thing, and you have ZecHub events and ZFAV Club events, and even meetups, in-person meetups. If we had one calendar where everybody can jump in, find out exactly what's going on, here's where you get pointed to, you can figure out, okay, I'm free, and I'm able to join this when I can. So I think, yeah, the work that's been done there and continuing to move that forward and getting other of these sub-communities participating and putting in their events into that calendar should make it easier for helping others find out how they can get involved and when to get involved. Yeah. So we're coming up on time. If anybody has any final thoughts about growing the Zcash community, we can go with that, or catch up on time, and we'll jump into the next talk. So
maybe ignore the noise and keep building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Zcash is the best privacy tech in the market, so we need to give this more value, and yeah, it's avoid like haters, etc., and just keep focused on that mission, that and bring people more freedom and privacy, because they need.
Great. Well, let's end it there. I really appreciate you guys joining me up here, and thank you for everybody being in here, and thank you for those listening online.
Thank you, Dan.